Well, Lisa Squire, Libby's mum, joins us now. Very lovely to talk with you this morning. Just watching that report, some people might, watching at home, think that you'd want to turn away, but in fact, you don't, do you? In fact, you want to know more and understand more, and that's why you've decided that you'd like to confront her killer face to face. Yes,
I knew most things about Libby, I mean, if not everything about Libby, and I don't know what happened in those final minutes. Obviously, the pathologist couldn't tell us how she died, and it's incredibly difficult not knowing how your child has died. You know, we know how she didn't die, but, you know, and he is the only person that can tell me that.
And is that because you're tortured, frankly, by those final moments, or what do you think that drive to know comes from?
For me, it's about honouring her and knowing. I feel if I don't find out, I'm letting her down in a way. And also my other 3 children, you know, it would be really nice to be able to say to them, this is what happened. Because it's the end of her, you know, life, and it's important to know. But I'm not as tortured about it as I was in the very early days.
Lisa, what are your thoughts about Pavel Relovich, who is in jail at the moment, and the fact that he's willing, so far, to meet you? I know the date hasn't been set, but he's interested or has considered seeing you.
Yeah, I don't actually think too much about him, which has been a conscious choice, because you can go down a very dark path and there's enough to deal with without having to deal with him as well. But I was actually really grateful that he said yes, because when I first started this process, I thought, he's just not going to do it, you know, because he didn't show any remorse in court. But yes, so I'm really quite grateful that he's considering it and so far has said yes.
That'll be an amazing sentiment for people at home to hear, that the mother of somebody who was killed in the way that Libby was is actually grateful. Admittedly, it's to the idea of a meeting, but grateful to the person that committed that crime.
Yes, because he won't get anything from doing this. I mean, they don't get a reduction in sentence or anything. And he's still quite a young man, I mean, young enough to be my son in reality. And it must be incredibly hard to sit across the table with the woman whose daughter you've killed. So it's quite brave of him. People say it's brave of me, but actually I think it's probably more brave of him.
You're being very generous and you seem like a very thoughtful person, so I'm sure you will have considered this. But what if he reveals something about those final moments that don't make things easier, but make you feel worse? Or what if he says something, as you say, he showed no sign of remorse in court, cruel or vindictive? Have you thought about those risks?
Yes, yes. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think I could handle it. But actually, there is nothing more painful than not having your child with you. The ultimate and the worst has happened. And we do know quite a lot about what happened that evening. So, you know, yes, he might say something vindictive, but I think the ultimate is not being with her, so I don't think I'll be more upset.
He has initially agreed to the meeting, and no date's been set yet, so you don't know whether it's going to be this week, next month, next year.
No
and
idea.
He could just keep you hanging on as well. Has it gone through your mind that this might be a control thing for him? He gets a bit of power.
Yes, yes, I think so. But it's also, I'm not going to give up. If he says, no, we're not going to do this, well, I'll try again next year and the year after and the year after. So, yeah, I'll keep trying and, you know, because it's so important to me to, you know, to find out that information.
Yours is an extreme grief, and you must have felt moments of anger, I'm sure, as well as desperation and horror. What advice would you give to people? I mean, clearly one path is to confront the source. I know you've got a campaign where you want to improve things as well. Rise. Is that the best way to tackle it?
For me, it is. Obviously, there's 5 people in our house and we all do our grief differently. I have never been angry. I know my husband was angry. My middle daughter was very angry as well. My younger 2, probably not so. I chose not to be angry because it's so destructive for me personally. And I think you just have to do what works for you. Yeah, and just go with what feels comfortable for you, because it is a minefield. And yeah, ours was an extreme case. But just there is no right and wrong way of doing it.
Tell us about your daughter, because, I mean, if she's anything like her mum, and undoubtedly she will have been a lot like her mum, she will have had a brilliant balance and open mind to the world around her.
She really was. She was really thoughtful and caring, and she was a very giving person. She always liked to give, you know, hated receiving presents and things, but, you know, quite gratefully received them. But, yeah, she was an amazing big sister, you know, an amazing daughter, niece, granddaughter, the whole thing. She was incredible, but obviously she had the other side to her as well. She was a normal person, you know. But yeah, everybody who met her felt like they were her best friend, and she had this amazing ability to make you think when she was talking to you that you were the only person in the room and you were the most important person to her. So yeah, she was
It's a real gift, that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Tell us about this campaign of yours as well.
We're running. I have lots of campaign ideas in my mind. My main one is to encourage women who are victims of non-contact sexual offences to report to the police, because the police do want to do something about it. They're obviously not going to go out and catch that man that night, but if they know about them, they can start sort of joining dots. So that's my first one. Then my next big campaign will be to ensure that everybody who murders stays in prison for the rest of their life. That's my big one. I've got to get that one
Never
out of
have
way.
the chance to come out.
No, because the victim doesn't have a chance to come back. I mean, if in 27 years Libby could come back, then I'd be more than happy for Elovich to come back. But she doesn't get to come back, and the victim's family lives a life sentence without them, and it doesn't seem very fair to me. So, and we all know you don't kill people, you know.
Lisa, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us this morning. It's remarkable hearing you talk so eloquently and balanced about the prospect of meeting him, and fingers crossed you get that meeting and you get the answers that you're so desperately looking for.
Yeah, thank you very much.